Hello everyone, Apple Producer here, and today I am going to quickly react to the things Dr. Bright is not allowed to do at the Foundation. Now, this was a link given to me by Lopter, the Demon King of Inferno, and I just found out there are 288 items on this list, so I'm sorry, I am not going to read every single one, but I'm going to read as much as I can and give my reactions to them. Alright, let's go. Rule 0 and 1 half. Dr. Bright is definitely not allowed to discuss this list in any interviews on YouTube. Okay. Dr. Bright is not allowed to feed anything with peanut butter to Kane. Telling new researchers you can tame SCP-682 with a rolled up newspaper and a tummy rub is right out. No longer allowed to challenge Abel to unwinnable games like tic-tac-toe. It was 3 weeks before Abel conceded a draw. SCP-0118 is SCP-018 is not to be taunted. Giving 113 to Diogenes is just plain pointless. Attempting to disprove 343 to 343 is a terrible idea. Agents are still studying the resulting paperweight, supposedly so heavy that 343 should not be able to lift it. While it is true that no one expects the SCP Inquisition, that is only because there is no such thing. Dr. Bright is not the king of anywhere, or queen. SCP-963 is not to be used for recreational or procreational purposes. Although it is entirely possible to use SCPs currently under control of the Foundation to create tentacle monsters, no. Not even if Dr. Palmer asks nicely. There is no market for SCP brand pornography. No, not even in Germany. This is hilarious. Should not replace the buckshot in Dr. Clef's shotgun shells with any of the following: birdseed, confetti, cake sprinkles, sawdust, or glitter. The Better Business Bureau is not the correct agency for dealing with containment failures from horrible Ederic artifacts sold by Marshall, Carter, and Dark. Victims of SCP-217 are not toys, nor are they to be used as props at a steampunk convention. This is great. Dr. Bright is not allowed to bargain with personnel for their souls, not even if he can get them a good deal. Don't let Dr. Bright get a sample of SCP-379. Let my laptop be the last victim. Oh no. Not allowed to go off my medication. May not use any form of the word accident as an excuse. Violate the dress code even on casual Fridays. No matter how many times you say please, Dr. Wright, we won't put any of the hats you've been asking about into the dress code. If an SCP file says never to do something, it is not because we want to control your mind. Yes, it is. No, it is not, and Dr. Wright may not edit this document. SCP-437 is not to be handed out as weaponry to unsuspecting new researchers. Data redacted on 05 request. Not even for recreational use. Not allowed to send Nigerian-esque spam mail to the Church of the Broken God. What the heck is that? Not allowed to send a mobile task force against the UIU under any circumstances without violating Dr. Clef at all. In fact, just stay 500 feet from the mobile task force at all times. Not allowed to end reports with lyrics from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Okay. I actually saw the pony parody of that. But is allowed to end with lyrics from the safety dance. The interpretive dance routine, however, is forbidden until he gets lessons from the foreseeable future. Dr. Bright is not allowed anywhere near a Renaissance festival. Why not? Especially not with a D-class and garb. Okay. SCP-963 is not a joy buzzer. If a mind-controlling SCP is discovered, it is to be turned over to the proper authorities. It is not to be used to advance himself and others higher in the Foundation. Kondraki. Dr. Bright is not a superhero of any sort, a head of public relations, in charge of orientation for new staff, a doctor of psychology, a member of Psych Command, made out of bacon, in possession of an IQ over 300, head of a SCP review, or member of maintenance staff. Sorry, boys, Dr. Bright is a member of Psych Command. It is It is usually best not to ask why. It is O5 command you're thinking of. There is no ethics committee, and even if there was, does anyone believe Dr. Bright would be on it? As anything other than what not to do. No longer allowed to make up the Jodies for morning calisthenics. Yes, this includes the Mickey Mouse Club theme song. This is treason! Yeah, what do you mean they're not allowed to make up Jodies for the Mickey Mouse Club theme song? This is high treason. And treason, I'm saying. Dr. Bright is not allowed to apply SCP-960 to any major political figures. Again. Okay, who did he do? I can guess either Biden or Trump. Dr. Bright is not from an alternate timeline. Dr. Bright cannot issue orders to preserve the timeline, or to corrupt the timeline, or to screw with those history nerds. Dr. Bright is not allowed to challenge anyone to a duel and to give them SCP-572. Dr. Bright is not allowed near SCP-55555J in any way or excuse. Remember what the miniature version did to Dr. L? Who's this? Oh wait, I can't do that. Dr. Clef and Dr. Bright are not allowed to interact without the presence of a responsible administrator. Dr. Kondraty does not count as a responsible administrator. Nor does Agent Strenovnikov or Dr. Mann. In fact, let's just keep the two of them apart, period. Chainsaws are not the solution to every question. Nor is more chainsaws, or chainsaw cannons. Except for that one time, and yes, it was awesome. SCP speed dating never happened. Anyone who claims to remember such an event should report to Psych Command for administration of a Class A amnesiac. Dr. Bright is not allowed to use any SCP to alter or affect the outcomes of any reality-based television shows, including, but not limited to, Survivor, Big Brother, Hell's Kitchen, American Idol, or any dating show on VH1. Not even if Dr. Wrights asks nicely? Okay, I think that's a typo. Dr. Bright is not allowed to administer spankings to Dr. Wrights' punishment. Oh! So Dr. Wrights is another person. Okay. A few moments later. All Foundation personnel are now required to attend a seminar on the difference between an original idea and a good idea before being allowed new or continuing contact with Dr. Bright, Dr. Clef, or Dr. Kondraty. Dr. Bright does not have 10 tons of gold hidden somewhere at Site-19. SCP-963 is not to be given away as a good luck charm. Dr. Bright is not a wizard, no matter what he may tell you. He is not an alchemist either, and it is not to be consulted regarding alchemical issues. Or a witch. Dr. Bright is not magic and cannot perform magic. It must be given a sufficient explanation for any actions he undertakes. Dr. Bright is not, nor has he ever been, the undisputed SCP Intercontinental Champion. Dr. Bright is no longer allowed to run through Site-19 at any site while screaming, "The Keter is loose!" unless it's an actual emergency. Claiming it's for research on the effects of social engineering is not an emergency, nor is using it to clear out the areas Dr. Bright is otherwise restricted from entering due to reasons given on this list. Dr. Bright may not start referring to any persons as SCPs as the Keter in order to circumvent these rules unless they are actually classified as Keter. Dr. Bright is not allowed to perform any test or experiment utilizing the reproductive organs of any dead or living being, including himself. This is crazy. This list is crazy. Dr. Bright may not tell D-Class personnel, newly recruited staff, anyone that SCP-920 will show them to their quarters. Again, we are still looking for 12 D-Class personnel who have disappeared in the Pyrenees. Dr. Bright may never attempt to ingest SCP-184 to win a pie eating contest, nor any other kind of eating or drinking contest. After what happened last month, Dr. Bright is not allowed to watch Firefly ever again. I think most of the people involved that are still alive are still in the psychiatric ward. Dr. Bright is not a brown coat, and we can stop the signal. Dr. Bright is a leaf on the wind. Watch him, so... Still too soon? Okay. Dr. Bright is not allowed to come within 5 meters of any explosive device or detonation device. Remember what happened at Area... Okay, that one's blacked out. Not even if Dr. Iceberg asks nicely. Trying to blow up 682 is not a valid excuse. Attempting to make shadow puppets with SCP-017 is forbidden. Trying to entertain SCP-053 is not a valid excuse. Dr. Bright is no longer allowed to stand in the corner and twiddle his thumbs. Dr. Bright is no longer allowed to use the word swag, swagget, swaginator, or swagify, or super swag to define himself or any other persons. YOLO is not an excuse for anything, most specifically because it is not applied to him. Neither is why not. Dr. Bright is not allowed to order D-class personnel, convince new personnel, any personnel, ask anybody ever to play a game of patty cake with SCP-049. Oh dear. Dr. Bright is not allowed to ask Mr. Deeds to do any of the things on this list. Okay. And the last few. Okay, who thought it was a good idea to let him have a TikTok account to read all these? Captain Duckman. Captain Duckman on TikTok. Dr. Bright is not Hades, nor any other Greek god. I don't care if it's the Hercules version or Lore Olympus. Wash off the blue body paint now. And please stop trying to set your hair on fire. There are no plans to shut down any site to prevent COVID-19 infections. That being said, if certain staffers do not start washing their hands after using the bathroom, Dr. Bright has full permission to be himself at them. I'm looking at you, Magnus. This is crazy. Oh, laughter, thank you. That was actually pretty entertaining to read. Alright. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye.